Welcome everyone to another installment of 10K Movies. I'm Ryan, joined as always by Tom and JD. Fellas, how we doing?
Doing good. How we doing, JD?
Can't complain, fellas.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Wanted to ask you guys, I mean, this might be a stupid question, because it can't really have too much control over it, I guess, but I was doing decent amount of driving last week and was thinking, if you guys have the chance, are you loyal to a certain like brand of gas station?
Gas
Like
station.
not brand, I don't know brand, but like
I know
you know
what
what I
you're
mean,
talking about.
company. Because you can't always, I guess, pick, because I mean if you really need gas, like you just gotta go wherever. But wanted to, because I have some thoughts on a few, but didn't know if you guys had any I guess favoritism.
All right. I have one question before we get into that. Does Bucky's count?
Uh well, I've never been to Bucky,
I've
so
never been to
I
Bucky's.
feel like that's a little maybe too regional,
It's like a store at
Okay.
this point.
but
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know.
I mean,
I've never been.
so all right.
You ever
So
been to Bucky's, JD?
I've been twice.
Holy
They were the
shit.
same trip, one on the way down and one on the way back.
Were you in like Tennessee or something?
It
Kentucky?
was out maybe like an hour south of Cincinnati, maybe a
Mm,
little farther than that. I forget where it was at. It was on the way to Hilton Head on the way back. So
mm.
it
So it
wasn't
was
far.
Kentucky?
Yeah, probably Kentucky. Yeah. But either
Mm,
way, I don't even know if I mean, they sell gas there, but it's
right.
like a retail store. They also have like fresh food and it's delicious. And it's not like normal gas station food. It's like they have a guy there making like barbecue sandwiches. Like,
Oh,
I've heard
uh,
it's incredible. It's like a
it's,
cult following. Like people are
oh yeah.
literally
I
obsessed.
have
People buy
seen
their
that.
shirts and stuff. Like people are obsessed with that
My
place.
boss has the full mascot costume and he like stared me dead in the eyes before I left. He goes, "You don't stop at Bucky's, you're fired on Monday." And I was like, all right, buddy, chill. But I was like, I'm going.
Holy shit. That's a bit. That's a scene from a that's a scene from a comedy show right there.
And I'll take them out of the discussion for like the time being. Just like talk about more like global gas stations, but there you should go if you haven't been. I mean, it's not gonna like knock your socks off, but it's like next level gas station.
Yeah, it's on my list, like 100%. If I'm ever, the thing is, like, I forget where I was going. I might have been driving home, and maybe I was outside of like Indy or something, and like literally they actually had a sign for Bucky's. It was like 278 miles that way. I'm like,
I think I've actually
okay,
seen that one.
that's not on the way whatsoever. So I'm like, the thing is too, I feel like they're not even in big cities. They're in like middle of nowhere, Kentucky, Tennessee, and like Georgia.
Middle of nowhere, and it almost looks like a strip mall, but it's one building.
I
Like
love that.
it's massive. And then like
Hell
the
yeah.
one two had like 30 different bays for getting gas, and I'm like, how's this
Wow.
supposed to make money? Like this place is massive.
Yeah. Well, don't they have like lines out the door and stuff too?
Mm. Well, we stopped both times at like 1 a.m., so it wasn't
Uh,
too busy. But actually, it was pretty packed even for 1 a.m. So yeah, I can
damn.
see it. Oh,
Dang.
also the nicest bathrooms.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big
Honestly,
part of it, I think.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say, I think when you're thinking about it, like when you think about bathrooms, like obviously you need good snacks, ideally, maybe some like somewhat fresh food, but the bathrooms are like the make or break. And that's why if I think if I had to say, I feel like this is probably the most popular pick. I think you got to go with Loves. I feel like
that
Loves is really
that
good.
was
Yeah.
my pick.
those seem to be slightly nicer. Like, so I will say a place I stop a lot is BP, and not to trash BP because my car takes diesel. No judgment from no judgment from the audience, but um, BP, like before you even stop, you know that's going to be one of the most disgusting bathrooms you've ever seen.
That well,
Like it's a glorified outhouse basically, and
I feel like there's a couple that could fall into that category, but
yeah,
that's for sure not.
honestly
Yeah,
most.
yeah, yeah.
Like you don't want to go to a bathroom at a gas station. Love's is decent. Bucky's, that sounds like the place to be.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna look up where the closest Bucky's is to me. You guys feel free
So
to carry on your conversation.
I would agree. Loves, if I'm going somewhere, it will probably be my number one if I'm going off on an exit. But I would say the one I go to the most is Circle K because I feel like there's a lot more of them.
Solid. Hmm.
Yeah.
They're usually in pretty good standing, and they always have Zen in stock. It's a winner.
That
Yep.
was, yeah, that's probably, I was gonna say my most common one I find myself at, and I think it's like an all around, just solid. It's got snacks if you need it. I tend to stay away from the actual food that gas stations have, but Bucky's sounds like it might,
I mean, I don't
Yeah,
even count the gas
better than
station,
that.
dude.
all right, that's fair. Then that I feel like might trump anything that you'll find gas station food wise. But yeah, because I usually, and this kind of goes with something we were talking about before, but I guess more so if it's like a decent sized road trip where you're probably going to get food too. Usually, where I stop makes, or what I'm looking for is just like what's closest to it, restaurant wise.
Yeah, I agree.
But never. I mean, if I can help it, go to a restaurant that's attached to the gas station. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's just
I
like,
do that a lot.
oh, you like doing that?
I don't like it, but I do
Oh,
it.
yeah. I mean, it is
But-
like convenience sake. It's nice, but like,
Right.
there's just something in my head like I would prefer not to if
I mean, it makes sense,
Had
but
to.
I need gas. I also need an Arby's roast beef sandwich. So it's like
Yeah.
I can stop once, I can stop twice. I'm all about efficiency.
I actually
Yeah.
agree with that, Ryan. I never go to a restaurant unless it's attached. But one time when I think it might have been the same Hilton trip, we stopped in like Tennessee or something, and there was like a food court that had like Taco Bell, Burger King,
I've been to
McDonald's,
those.
all of it, and I was like, yeah, I'm probably just gonna eat here.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a little different. Than I mean, at
Yeah.
least you're not, might not be right next to the diesel, which you probably
Yeah.
still aren't anyway. But it's just
Yeah,
like
probably.
in my head that's what it's like.
Yeah, you're just eating
They're
gas.
not frying the chicken tenders a little extra leftover diesel, dumping in there.
You never know.
Crispy
They're running low on the
batter.
cooking oil. They like grab some from the pump, man.
Grab
That's
some,
how the-
steal some from BP. They don't mind.
That's how the
Don't use the
taquitos
unleaded. The
get
premium tastes better.
Yeah.
I've actually been to a place like that too, JD. It was a gas station, I think, but it was like a rest stop or whatever.
Yeah.
But it just like it looked like a kind of like a little shack. But then you walk in, there's like McDonald's, Taco Bell,
Yeah.
Sbarro's, Panda. I'm like, oh, this is fucking awesome.
Actually, I think it was on my way to Chicago when I stopped up.
I was gonna say the one I've been to one like that. It was in Illinois, so maybe that's the same one. I think it's like
Yeah.
just past the Indiana-Illinois border.
Yeah, that sounds right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think
Yeah.
I wanted to stop before I got too close to the city or something.
Mm-hmm. Pretty good though. Pretty clutch.
Yeah,
One
I mean,
more-
I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
One last shout out I wanted to give. I don't know if this is a regional one or not, but Luke's. I don't know if you guys have been to Luke's
I
gas
think I've
station.
heard of it.
I've heard of it. I
But
don't know if-
that's
Oh
like,
yeah,
at
Ryan.
least-
What's your pick? Is that your pick?
I guess that would be I mean, I was thinking the Loves too, but
Mhm.
Luke's, unless that's like too, I don't know, like
I've
regional
never
or
heard of
not,
Luke's.
not super around. That would be my other one. Just because I mean, really cleanliness alone, it's like one of the cleanest ones I've been into. So
I looked up Luke's and it's a Italian beef restaurant according to like
Yeah,
the
it's-
first results. I've
Yeah.
never seen it.
it's got
Uh,
like blue. It's like a blue and I think yellow. Luke's might be in yellow as far as like the sign.
What's it regional to? Like Northwest Indiana or
I guess so. It might
Or
just be
Indy?
there. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the ones I've been to are close for like Northwest Indiana.
yeah, no, I can't say I've heard of those. Growing up, I really liked. I can't remember what it was now, but they always like the ones with like Hunt Brothers Pizza.
Oh,
Those are fantastic. Hucks. Oh,
Hucks,
dude,
no.
Hucks is top tier, honestly.
I mean,
Like
that's-
the bangs.
Yeah,
the Hux
Huck's
that
is-
we all know is the only one that I have heard of. So,
pretty sure.
I
There's
mean, but
one-
if that counts, that's one of the
One
best.
outside Louisville, one of my buddies sent me one time, but it did not look anything like the one we went to. I would not know at it.
Honestly, our Hucks is pretty damn clean and has a good
Oh,
like
yeah.
selection of stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's a
they
good that's a
have,
good call as Hucks.
that pizza. It's great.
Mhm. Their pizza's
Yeah.
actually delicious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gas station pizza is usually not too bad. I'll dabble in that.
I'll be honest, I've had a lot of gas station food.
Yeah. You are the king of that.
You're a
Yeah,
taquitos guy in my mind,
Uh,
Rudy.
No, I've never had one of the taquitos. I don't trust those. But I've had the burgers. I've had a rodeo burger from one.
That's gotta
no.
be Bucky's
No,
or Sun or South.
yeah, no, exactly what you think happens.
Yeah, okay.
All
that
right.
makes
We'll leave it
sense.
at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a first time for some reason listener to this, we don't always talk about gas stations. We are
Still
a
movie
movie
podcast.
podcast
Mhm.
in the title, but we will be talking about La La Land today. However, if you have been listening, we also have been listening to a year's Billboard Hot 100 for a good while now. I think we started like the 80s or no, I think it was even 70s, like
70s.
It's
mid.
like 75 or something was the first
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, it was like early to mid 70s, I think.
Yeah, so now we're at 2003 of what we listened to over the past week. So we're going to give our favorites of that year. Tom, since you picked the movie this week, feel free to start us off with the songs.
Yeah. Well, honestly, like the last couple years, the competition's getting good every week. So yeah, another pretty good years here. I went with Calling All Angels by Train. Just
Mm.
a great song, great band. Um, honorable mention I had was Take You On, if you guys have ever heard that song.
Yeah,
Absolute banger.
I almost chose that one actually.
I can actually remember because this came out 03, we were in like second grade, and I can actually remember like a guy in our second grade class like singing that. And I was just like, what is that song? It's I don't know if you consider that like heavy metal
Trying to find it. I don't
It's called
remember.
It's called Headstrong,
or
right?
Headstrong. Yeah,
Oh,
Headstrong.
okay.
Yeah, it goes pretty hard, I will say. It holds up 20 years later. But yeah, that was my pick. I went with the Train song. What about JD? I think you're up next.
Those are wildly different songs to take an honorable mention. But I went
One's
with the
quite
song.
soft, one's very hard.
Yeah. I went with the song that I kind of forgot about, but I actually love. It's "She Hates Me" by Puddle of Mud.
Oh,
Dude,
that
I
song.
love that song.
Yeah,
That
I
one
didn't
goes
realize we
hard
were
too.
so unified on this. But yeah, I almost picked that. I thought I'd get made fun of.
I
That
mean,
song's awesome.
you can make fun of me, but I like that song. Yeah,
No, not at all. I
Oh
love that
yeah,
song.
that's on one of my playlists that I listen to decently regularly. So
I
I love
actually
that song.
added it to a playlist after I listened to it.
Yeah, it's great. I went with one that I thought JD you were actually going to pick, but it's "Unwell" by Matchbox 20.
That was my other runner up.
Yeah, one of my favorite bands. So that was kind of an easy one, but I will say like this was I mean, again, there's a lot. Like, it was still kind of tough because there's a lot of good ones. Also loved "Drift Away" by Uncle Cracker.
So banger.
So there, yeah, I mean, even beyond that though, there was a lot that I was in between, but yeah, I went with "Unwell" by Matchbox. But yeah, I mean, I think they just keep getting better and better. So next week we'll be listening to 2004. So if you guys want to listen along with us, yeah, feel free, and then we'll talk about our favorites again next time.
I legitimately considered every song we named. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if like that style of
same
music
actually.
because we like it was kind of the popular thing when we were growing up, but that's like my favorite, like alt rock for the most part, and then like just a few other songs here and there.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I
I mean, I
agree.
would have been happy with any of those.
Yeah.
I think similar to what Ryan said about your song, JD, like honestly, a lot of these songs I listen to like pretty regularly from
Yeah.
like when we got into like mid to late 90s, like on, I'm like, oh yeah, these are good reminders because I actually like all these songs are still great. So
Yeah, like I think that's part of the reason I didn't choose Unwell because I actually have like a playlist that's literally only Blink, Goo Goo Dolls, and Matchbox 20, like three of my favorite bands. And like I don't know, maybe it just didn't feel as special for a choice.
Yeah,
yep,
that's fair.
that's kind of how I was. I listen to Unwell like I don't know, once a week probably. So like when you see it on there, you just don't think of it as like
Yeah,
That's pretty awesome.
yeah,
it's not exotic enough for me.
right.
I don't want to Puddle of Mud.
Oh yeah, She Hates Me, man. That's like a banger.
Uh,
That is a good one.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be doing 2004 next week. So feel free to listen along. Um, like I said, we also watched a movie, of course, this past week, and that was La La Land, coming from Tommy. So we'll go ahead and give our scores here. But Tom, feel free to kick us off with synopsis and then your score.
Yep. Yeah, La La Land was the pick. It's on Netflix right now. Came out in 2016. According to IMDb, while navigating their careers in Los Angeles, a pianist and an actress fall in love while attempting to reconcile their aspirations for the future. So yeah, this was a good movie. I liked it a lot. IMDb gave it an 8. I'm right around there too. I went with an 84. I thought really good, really solid. I know one of our friends that says this is like one of his all-time favorite movies, like top like 3. I'm not in that camp. We should have had him on for that. It's passionate takes. But yeah, I thought this was really good. I think it's a musical, but I think performances were good. I think the story is pretty cool. Not spectacular enough or like I guess unique enough for me to drive it any higher. Like it just didn't make me feel that way that it was extra special, I guess. So got it an 84. We'll dive into it more down the road here, but JD, I'll toss it over to you and see what you got as a score.
Yeah, I'm actually right in your ballpark. I went with a 82. Similar reasons. I mean, like, really liked it. I also think there was a lot of expectations. Like won some awards. A lot of people, like you said, like we have a buddy who loves it. Like a lot of people always hyped it up to me, and it was just. I mean, it was just like another good movie in my book. I mean, I really like. I like the acting. I love Ryan Gosling. And yeah, I'll get into more of it later too. But yeah, kind of the same deal as you. Just never didn't really like. I really liked the story, just didn't do a whole lot for me as far as like a viewing aspect.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, I yeah, kind of agree with what you guys had to say. I am the highest one on this one. I mean, I love this movie. It's not quite in the 90s for me. It's actually just at 89, but still really high score. I think that puts the average at 85. So yeah, that's I think still solid across the board. But yeah, I was a big fan of this. This was one I don't think I definitely didn't see it when it was nominated for the Oscar. Like I definitely didn't see it in theaters. Um, and then that whole fiasco happened with like it winning Best Picture, even though it didn't, because Moonlight actually won. So then I was like, after that is kind of when I was like trying to find it, and it finally came to some streaming at some point. I think like a year or two after. But yeah, I loved it. I think my favorite part of it is just the visuals. Like even looking at this poster, like it's just like super vibrant, like the colors they use and everything. I thought that was like awesome. It's like it just jumps off the screen. Um, love the actors in it. I think I like the story quite a bit. Like I definitely love the ending, which I'm sure we get to, but I think overall it was really good. And yeah, I enjoyed it.
I'm glad you brought up the colors. I start get into it because I don't know if you guys felt like this. I mean, we watched the Grand Budapest Hotel directed by Wes Anderson. This kind of gave me Wes Anderson vibes a little bit. That's actually why I was looking up the director, Damien Chazelle, before this, and just I mean, I could still tell it wasn't Wes because Wes is a little weirder just from like the 2 movies I've seen from him. But like, used a lot of like flamboyant colors in a few scenes, and just some of the ways the actors spoke or like talked, like gave me very big Wes Anderson vibes. But they've never
Yeah.
worked together, not that I could find. I was like trying to do some research on that.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I just didn't make that connection, but I definitely the colors definitely stood out. Like Ryan mentioned the movie poster, like that
The
scene, as
hell
soon as I
poster.
went to that scene, yeah, it is a great poster, but like even that scene, I was just like, oh, this is like an iconic scene. I've never seen the movie before, but
Yeah.
I've just seen that clip like so many times on, whatever it is, little teasers or whatnot. Yeah, the colors were big. That was definitely a big thing. Yeah, and I think it played into like just LA as a city, and like it's a very beautiful city in my opinion, and it played on that with like a lot of the sunsets and just different things, and just did a little like different things with like the stars and the a few different scenes. But yeah, I felt that way too. Glad Ryan you brought up the ending because that that jumped me from like an 82 range like JD to an 84. So I definitely that was a big play for me. I really loved how it wrapped up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I mean there's a lot of that I liked about it. Like especially that scene that you just brought up, like the choreography, which I guess I guess there was a decent amount of choreography because even with how it opens up, which
in like the highway.
yeah, which I think that was
Mhm.
cool. Like, like LA, everyone like complains about the traffic and everything. I've never been there, but I know that's like a common thing. But I thought that was cool how they like kind of made that fun part of it. And then the scene you just talked about, Tom, like I thought that was like really cool how they are like dancing, like went on the bench and do that whole the dance number and song and everything. And then just the music in general, I really like the first time I watched this, I listened to the soundtrack decent amount after the fact, just because I really liked like City of Stars is
Yeah, I
the
was gonna
the
say
main
that's my
song, and they
favorite.
like play it many times throughout it, even if it's just like the tune in the background and everything. I love that little like piano at the beginning of that and everything. So I thought that was really good. Um and like I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I think Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone are like like at least top 10 right now as far as actors that are, I would say, like regularly still like doing roles. I think they have like great chemistry. They were also in what's that, like rom-com. I think it's Crazy Stupid Love, I want to say. Steve Carell's also in it. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but
Yeah, I've never
they
know what you're talking
I
about.
know of it. Yeah.
yeah, it's a great movie. Actually, I like that one a lot. And they, are love interest in that as well. And maybe it just goes back to that because I think that came out before this one. But um, I thought they did a fantastic job. But obviously, they're the main characters, so we see the most of them in this. But even like the other ones we see along the way, I think are good. Even John Legend, for the
Mhm.
little
Yeah,
little
Yeah,
second that he's in
it
it.
was
But
good.
J.K. Simmons
Key
yeah, J.K. Simmons too. Yeah,
J.K. Simmons. Yeah, barely.
comes in
yeah,
at 5% and leaves.
yeah,
Yeah, but he's like fourth on the billing.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
crazy. Expected a little bit more from him. Yeah, I agree with that. I think Emma Stone like crushed this
Oh
role,
yeah,
but like she from just I think her character is like pretty dynamic. You see a lot of different sides from like struggling actress side to like the romantic partner side to just see a lot of different layers. Her kind of hit rock bottom after the play, and just like going audition and like keep fighting for it. I liked her character a lot, and I think she just like crushed it. But I was thinking too, like Ryan Gosling, gotta be, maybe it's just me underrating him, but I feel like he's like gotta be one of the most underrated like lead lead men out there. I feel like at this point, like he's really good. He's had some good performances. I genuinely enjoy him a lot. So good
I
things to
would
say about both those guys.
I would agree. Like I think if you ask anyone about Ryan Gosling, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I like love him." But if you like were in a conversation about like best actors out right now, like I feel like his name wouldn't be. I mean, you get a lot of Leo, which makes sense. Like,
Hmm.
but I definitely like see what you're saying. I would agree with that.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I haven't seen a movie with him in it that I haven't enjoyed. Like,
That's what I was gonna say.
kind of like
Uh,
Leo too, but like,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, he's always gonna be like if I see a movie not knowing who's gonna be in it ahead of time and he shows up on screen, like probably gonna like
Yep.
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I also
That's how I
think
felt with The Big Short. Like I forgot he
yeah,
was in The Big Short, and I was like, oh hell yes.
Jared Vanessa.
His character's awesome. It's like one of
Yeah.
my favorite characters in this. So yeah.
I also feel like Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, like generally, like I feel like if you had to compare an actor and an actress, they'd be a very good comparison. Like,
Honestly,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, like they both do like some like goofy, funny roles, and they both take like serious roles, and both like both in La La Land did great performances. But like Emma Stone did like Easy A, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super bad.
Super
yeah,
bad.
super bad. Ryan Gosling did like The Nice Guys, which I love that movie,
Hmm.
but it's like he's just so quirky in that. I don't know if quirky is the right word, but just
Oh,
like
I would say so.
kind of a goofy fun role, which I love that. It's like one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
you
He
love that
just
movie.
Yeah, that's a great one.
I actually
He
watched it like 2 days ago.
he just does like he's kind of transformed into that goofy, funny role in like the ones he's been in more recently, I feel like, but he also can do the serious one um as well. I just feel like more as of late they have been on the funnier side.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, yeah, he crushes it in
Actually,
everything he's in.
there is one movie. It wasn't really his fault. I liked his character, but The Gray Man came out on Netflix. Don't know if you ever saw that. It's
I
him like
actually didn't see that, but I've heard it wasn't great.
it's not great. Almost feels like a knockoff of like John Wick because it's like nonstop action, but it's just not even close.
Yeah, doesn't hit the same.
No, I
I've never seen that.
think they actually might be making a second one somehow. But
Yeah, I heard it didn't. I mean, I think it was just straight on Netflix, but like
yeah, I'm sure it was.
I think they still somehow lose money on that. I don't
Hold on.
really
Do you ever go to
understand
the
how that works.
Blockbuster section of Netflix? I'm pretty sure I've talked about
It's all there.
On Netflix.
Yeah.
That one's like always at the top for me, and I'm like, not even close to a blockbuster. Like I don't even know like 10 other people that have seen this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never even heard of it until 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
But it's like always up there in blockbusters. I'm like, no, not, I mean, it has Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans, but it's not a blockbuster.
Yeah. I think that's a good comparison though, JD. You were saying like Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone being on the same level. Like they're definitely A-listers and like everyone knows their name, but you don't really like think of them as like when a new movie comes out and it doesn't like raise the radar, I guess, like Leo or
Yeah.
somebody at that level, I guess.
Like if Leo signs on a new
Margot
movie,
Robbie, even like
Yeah.
they're a little below like that A- range, I guess. Like they're A-listers, but they're not like people aren't like clamoring for them to put out new stuff.
yeah. Like if Leo does a new movie, it's gonna be like all over my X feed and like all that stuff. Like
Mm,
Leo signed a new movie, like whatever. But if like Ryan Gosling does, like I won't even hear about it until like I see a trailer for the movie.
yeah. It's kind of like you said, it's just like a pleasant thing if he's in it. And like
Yeah.
same with Emma Stone. Like
Yeah.
I remember I saw that movie The Help a couple years ago.
Oh yeah.
And she was in that and I was
She
like,
got
oh,
nominated for that one, didn't she?
I think
Maybe not.
so. It was a couple years ago.
I think 14ish.
That might be right. Let me
Later
see.
than that.
2011 actually,
Wow, later.
way back. But yeah, she's very good. The other thing, like now looking at IMDb, there's not many characters in this at all.
No,
No.
Like
that's what I was
like
saying when I was trying to think of the other actors in it. I was like, it really is kind of just them for the most. Like,
just John Legend and J.K. Simmons.
there's enough to in the background to progress the story, but
Mhm.
you know, it still focuses on them the whole time. Which, you know, kudos to them for even like taking more on with
What,
it.
what other movie did we watch that was kind of like a one person show in a way? I feel like it wasn't that recent ago. And maybe.
Yeah,
Not
I think
Birdman.
we've had a few like that. It might have been
I
Birdman,
think it was
honestly.
Birdman because
She's also in.
yeah,
Ironically, funny
that's like,
enough.
I didn't even think about that either. But
Yep.
yeah, I thought it
Because
was really well done
she won Best Actress for this one.
for La
Oh
La Land.
wow,
Yeah, she was nominated in Birdman too.
I
But
think
that's
Damien
crazy.
Chazelle won Best Director.
yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
I didn't
And it
didn't
almost
realize.
won Best Picture, but you know,
Yeah, I didn't
good
realize
for
La La
5
Land had this much hype. Like I remember it getting like buzz, but I didn't realize it was like that. I mean, it was like one of the movies of the year. So
Yeah,
There were two
it's
movies that came out. This and Shape of Water, which I think was like 2018, maybe.
I've seen that.
Yeah, and both of those got like a lot of hype. And I saw The Shape of
Mhm.
Water, and this is my first time watching La La Land, and I wasn't thrilled. I mean, The Shape of Water was good too, but wasn't
Water
like
was okay.
yeah,
It wasn't bad by any means, but it was I think a lot of people hate that movie.
yeah. I feel like that's a very controversial movie. Just like if
Mhm.
you like it or hate it, like it's
Yep.
not. You don't get a lot of people like, yeah. I mean, kind of middle of the road.
Yeah. It's not bad. Like I'd say I like it. I don't love it. Kind of
Yeah,
same with La La Land. Like I like La La Land a lot, but I don't see the hype to that extent. Like I would never consider this one of my favorite movies. Like I'd watch it again. It's just I don't think the story was like captivating enough to get, it's kind of just I think obviously the music and the like you guys said, like the way it's shot and all the kind of the effects with the colors are cool.
mhm.
Um and they're both great actors, but I don't think the story was like anything crazy as
I
far
think
as Like I've
I
seen a
think
lot
with
of romance movies that are kind of similar.
I think with musicals, it's hard to have like a very good storyline. Although I will say,
Mhm.
as far as musical goes, like if you ever saw like Tick Tick Boom with Andrew Garfield,
Mm-mm.
like this didn't have nearly as much singing and stuff as like some of the other ones, so that's a little different. But I feel like it's just hard to like progress a storyline if you also want to have like the music notes in there and stuff.
I was
Yeah.
actually gonna say, I feel like for a musical, there wasn't that much singing, which I kind of appreciated. Like,
Same.
I kind of like when it's woven in and not
Mhm.
everything. It's like everything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Hamilton. Like, I
Mhm.
was very excited to see that because you know, like history and I've heard so much good stuff about it. It's like literally there is not 1 second of it that isn't like a rap or like singing. No, no,
But
not to spoil it, but it's still good. It's just not what I expected. It's like I want to hear more of the story. And, like you're still telling a story, but like you said, JD,
yeah,
it's hard to tell a story if you're literally singing every second.
yeah. And like this one opens, like Ryan brought up earlier, like on the highway, you got people singing. I was like,
Hmm.
oh, it's gonna sing like the entire movie, and it really
Yeah.
does, which I agree was a pleasant surprise. But another one that it what weaves the song in is A Star Is Born. Like
Yeah.
there's a decent amount of singing, but like they're also singers in the movie, which helps. But like that's like a pretty good one where the music like ebbs and flows really well with the plot line.
Hmm.
Yeah. I was thinking Rocket Man, because that's
I
one
love
I love, and I think kind of
fun. Like,
similar to this one in a way where it does like weave in. Obviously, the songs are like you know prevalent, but it's like for that one, like each song told like a different
yeah,
chapter in his life or whatever, which I think was smart. But like this one, not so much, I guess, but it's still through the songs, like it's moving the plot and everything forward, which I like. Like there's, I mean, one that I think doesn't. Maybe it does do that. I just didn't really like the movie. Was one we've seen is West Side Story. It's like I don't
yeah.
know. That was just
Actually
like
liked West Side Story.
oh well. I mean,
Feel free to
I
trash it. I don't care.
no, I mean it's definitely not bad. It's just one that like was too musical y, I guess,
I
for
get
me,
that.
if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
I
But
totally get that.
I
that's
will
where I kind of
also
like this better.
I'll also agree with that because like West Side Story, not to spoil it for anyone that hasn't seen it, like dude, people like die and then they're like,
Yeah,
That's,
yeah.
yeah,
It
that is
just
true.
it's like a switch is flipped, whereas
yeah,
this it's like it doesn't like miss a beat as like it keeps
yeah,
repeating.
I
Yeah.
completely agree with that.
So I liked how that happened.
Honestly, a movie we watched semi recently, and not that it was really a musical, but one that I love. I love the movie and I love the music involved was Begin Again.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I know
yeah,
that's not really like a musical, that's more like they're playing music in the movie, but it does add to the story and it also tells a story without it, I guess. So,
yeah. I think
um,
Beginning Again was a pleasant surprise as a movie went for me. Like
yep,
I didn't have a
same.
lot of expectations going into it.
Nope. I think
yeah.
yeah, I think that was really solid. I will say one of the songs in this I absolutely loved was the last song Emma Stone did
Oh, on her,
because
or was she was telling the
On
story in the
the
interview,
stage or
or not the
whatever.
interview,
yeah,
but the
the
audition?
audition. Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
it was great. Like I think it
I like
just
that too.
tied one, I think it was a great song, but two, I think it just tied a lot together. Like the whole climax of the movie for her was like, if we're gonna talk about like the themes and shit of the movie, I think the big theme was like reaching your dreams and basically, throwing everything else aside for that. And
yeah,
that was like her big thing. Her aunt inspired her to get into acting. Um, and she told the story through a song, which ultimately, you assume that got her the part, like her first real role, it seems like, for the, movie in Paris. So
yeah.
I
Yeah,
like that a lot.
Me
there
too.
were two big takeaways that came from this. Is one like Tom said, you chase your dreams. I'm like, all right, so I will now become a fantasy football analyst. Uh,
Yeah,
but actually, the second one, more like I'm actually kind of probably gonna do is realize we gotta listen to jazz more. It's dying. Like
That's
that's true.
I'm
that's
helping.
true.
It. I'm gonna listen to jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I And if we're gonna jump to the end, that was same thing I saw JD with. The scene I love that bumped this movie to an 84 for me was obviously the last scene when she walks into the club and like they see each other and she has that there's like the montage of like what their
Yeah,
life could have been. So I think it
loved it.
was just yeah, I mean, I don't know. Obviously art I think is open for interpretation, so I'd love to hear what you guys think, but to me that was essentially you know, pursuing your dreams and your goals, what you think will make you happy versus like pursuing like love and the right person and like what could actually make you happy and just like the balance of that. Like I think she was seeing it as like, or they were seeing it as like they both achieved their dreams, which they moved on from each other to pursue, but then they see this alternate world where they could have been, really happy, I guess, on the love side of things, which I guess grass is always greener type deal too. But curious
Yeah.
to see what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was both of them kind of like Seb looked more sad than her maybe like as he was done playing the last song. But then as they kept looking at each other and understood it's like we could have had something special, but hey, we really, set out what we said we were gonna do. And that's, not everyone that goes to LA, especially in the industry, can say that's happened, I feel like. So I think they're like, we made the right decision, but I'll always like miss you and everything. That's how I was seeing it. But
I think that too. Like it was like
yeah,
a friendly nod, like of closure, of like I hope
yeah,
I hope the best for you, and I'm gonna try to do the best for me at the same time.
yeah.
I agree. And also, like Tom said, like art is open to interpretation stuff. But I will agree, like the ending was one of my favorite endings I've seen in a while, honestly.
Same, dude.
Yep.
Usually, usually I feel like endings are either predictable or they just like movie just kind of ends and you're just like, all right, like it's not really that great of an ending. But I really like this one.
Yeah, if it didn't end that way, where like they did get together or something, I wouldn't have hated it, but it would for sure be a lot lower.
Yeah, like
For me personally.
if they're just together, they're both successful, and you just like walk off in the sunset, it'd just be like,
Yeah,
yeah, just be like,
Right.
then it would be like I watched that movie and it's exactly what I thought it would be.
right.
100%. Because one thing I liked with the movie is I feel like we've had a lot of movies that do this where they break it up in like parts. Where this one didn't spell out parts, but it did the seasons, especially
Yeah,
when they met, was really cool.
I like that.
But then, like you guys said, the 5 years later thing, if they would have like, you see Emma Stone as like, you kind of see her face on some billboards around town and stuff. But then, she goes home, she's got a house, a husband. You kind of expect they set it up where it's like maybe that's Sebastian, but
Yeah,
it isn't. It's this other guy. So I agree. I think if that 5 years later would have just been the two of them happily ever after, both their like dreams come true, I think it would have been a little bit more on like the corny cliche side.
yeah,
But I think we talk about endings a lot because, like you said, JD, they're very, very important. And I think we've had a lot of movies we didn't like the ending, and this one I feel like just in a really cool way wrapped it up perfectly and made the movie more enjoyable for me. I think down the line I'm going to think of it in higher regard because of that.
yeah. Endings can make or break, and I feel like this one made it for sure.
Agreed.
I mean, obviously, there's a bunch of other good stuff, but if you just have a bunch of good stuff, ending sucks or just doesn't make sense, like then you're not even gonna remember the good stuff of it. So yeah, I thought it ended perfectly. I wouldn't have changed anything about that.
Yeah, I agree with both your points. Like when you think like how you think of a movie generally is like the last thing you've seen in that movie. Because like when you rewatch movies, like at the very beginning, like oh dude, I forgot that even kind of happened. Because you're more thinking of like the climax or like the major plot points. So like if the ending is bad, that's what you're gonna walk out thinking about. Like next time you think about the movie, you're like I hate that movie. Like or like not to get too into the weeds here, but like Game of Thrones was one of my favorite shows. Just did not like at all how it ended, and like I still watch it every now and then, but just not the same.
Not the same. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think
Agreed.
that's a good example.
Yeah, I mean, it takes away like there's like 5 or 6 great seasons of TV in there, just like not a great ending.
Yeah, exactly.
What one that comes to mind is that one movie we saw. I can't even remember the name of it. We talked about it obviously, but it was with I can't even think of the actor's name. It was like the game one.
Oh
I think
yeah,
it was
Michael
literally called
Douglas. That's
now
what
that I
I
think
was
about it, I think it's
thinking when
literally
I
called
was
the
like
game.
talking about the endings, because that was one that
Yeah.
I think I don't know if we all agree we didn't necessarily
I
like
think
it
you
or
guys
not,
didn't
but
really like it. I thought it was okay.
yeah,
I kind of liked it honestly. I
yeah,
see I see
that
the
is what I
argument for
thought.
sure, but yeah, because that movie took you for a ride. So I feel like with that, the ending was almost even more important because like for that one, I didn't really like it like leading up to it, like for most of the movie. I actually kind of liked the way it, Yeah, I think I like the way it ended, but I see the argument for the other way too.
I'm trying to think of a movie I think we watched together, but it's I forget what happened. Anyway, the girl ends up in like a mental hospital and like it was a
We
whole
did
kind of
watch that one.
The side
yeah.
effects?
Was that Bradley
Side
Cooper?
effects,
Yeah,
yeah,
side
yeah.
effects. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like Channing Tatum or something, right?
Channing
Yep, Channing Tatum.
Tatum.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Forget
I
who
really
else.
like that movie because I remember we had a very in-depth topic about like if she's being like drugged to act like she's crazy or like whatever.
Yeah.
Either way, it sounds like torture.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a wild
yeah,
movie now that I think about it.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was
That was a
a lot
trip.
of times. Yeah, that was a good movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've talked about quite a few at this point.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's been very few movies we've watched that I don't like. I might just choose a horrible movie at some point.
Porky's.
Yeah.
Honestly, we
Yeah,
need
well,
some
that's
more
on a
shitty
lot.
movies.
That's on the lost tapes. I don't think we've done
Yeah.
one on this,
Lost?
Like-
since we've been putting them out that have been terrible.
I feel like the jerk we didn't love.
Nah,
Yeah, that's probably our lowest one, I'd
Probably
say.
the lowest one. What was the one? Was it
Maybe
Roadhouse? Is it-
Neighbors.
Yeah,
Roadhouse could have been it too.
I honestly loved Roadhouse. in
Roadhouse
its-
is my favorite
in
comedy.
its
of
own
all
way.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually thought about Roadhouse the other day. Like I don't even know why. But I was just like, man, what a concept for a movie. That one took a trip too. Like
I thought about Roadhouse the other day, but it's because I heard the song Footloose and I just thought of Roadhouse for no reason at all. But,
Patrick Swayze.
well, yeah, I mean, there's reasons, but I was just started thinking
Right.
about Roadhouse.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good one.
I mean,
That is-
we might have to bring out Home Team at some point because we
Ooh.
have on that movie.
Do a rewatch.
Yeah, if we ever find our old files, we could try to re-release them. I was trying to think, what was our first movie? I was actually
That
thinking
was
about it
that one.
today. Was it
That
that
was
one?
the
'Cause
That we
first
actually recorded, yeah.
I think even before we recorded, because we've done this for almost 2 years now.
Yeah, one of the
we-
very first ones was Ballad of Buster Scruggs, I think.
That was, I think, like
And
number
Leon too.
2 or 3. Leon the
Leon.
Professional, I think, was the first. I could be wrong.
Leon
Maybe
the
not.
Professional might be, and that is like a sneaky like favorite movie of mine.
It was really good. I like
Yeah.
that.
That was a good pick. That was one of those that was like, I think it was like late 90s or something. It's kind of like slid
94 or
under the
something.
radar. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was like, I
With
think
Gary
we've talked
Oldman.
about it. Gary, yeah, dude, I love Gary Oldman. He's
love
the
Gary Oldman.
man.
He's good.
I think we've talked about it. I know JD, I think you've mentioned it before, but that era of like, I don't know, even like 90, like 94 to like 2003, 2004 is like just some bangers for movies.
I feel like there's not a bet. Like you just tell me a movie came out in that time frame, I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
even what's the one we watched? Or even I think before we like recorded on here, we had like a run, I feel like, of movies like that, like LA Confidential.
Yep.
What was the Mark Wahlberg one?
Oh, one.
With Dirk Diggler.
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't
Why am I
know.
not thinking
Boogie
of that?
Nights?
Yes,
Boogie Nights, yeah.
Boogie
So like I'm looking those up now. Like Boogie Nights was 97.
And the game was 97.
Yep.
Okay.
LA Confidential was 97. What's the one Nolan movie we watched? Memento. That was like I think 2000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be around there.
So yeah, we watched some like we went on kind of like a run with those. Yeah, Memento's 2000.
Actually, might rewatch that at some point.
I rewatched that this year. After actually a weekend we were all together, did some alcohol consumption and watched it afterwards. I was like, yeah, I am this is tough to follow.
Yeah.
But it is a great
Yeah,
movie
not
though.
the best movie for that situation.
Right. It is a great one though. So yeah, that era, man, that's top notch. But we've had some good ones, I feel like, in that like 2016-ish, like to 2019 range too,
Oh yeah.
here recently.
Oh, yeah, we don't play favorites there. There's good movies from all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into some new ones eventually too, I'm sure. We've done a couple theater movies. We did Oppenheimer, obviously, and then Air.
Yeah.
Oh, I know we're not to that section yet, but curious if you guys, because I've been thinking about going to it. I had a friend here that told me he went and saw Killers of the Flower Moon.
I wanted to see it, I just haven't been able to
And-
get out there.
Yeah, it's also very long. It's like 3.5 hours. And he said for a
Yeah.
theater, it did like this guy definitely feels similar about with us with like movies and theaters, and he said it even like kind of drug a little bit. So
Yeah, I can see that.
but yeah, I'd still like to see it. I feel like it's kind of going under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, it's
That
about
and
to not be in there anymore.
Right, right. I believe it.
that and Hunger Games that comes out this week, I think. Actually, those are both on my radar of movies to see.
I really want to see Napoleon. That's coming out here soon too.
Yeah.
I think this weekend.
I think
I could be
so.
wrong.
That looks really good. Not to jump to our last section here, but
No, I mean I think we're there. I mean that
yeah,
pretty much
I think so
wraps
too.
up La La Land. Do we know where that puts it on the running list?
Yep. In good company, it's coming in at an 85, so it's 173 on the list. Just behind Longest Yard, which Longest Yard is criminally low there, and just ahead of Drive, which I believe is another Gosling movie.
It
So
is, yeah.
that's pretty cool. So yeah, 85 really. I mean, I gave it an 84. We're all kind of in the same ballpark. I think that's pretty much a perfect score. So,
Yeah.
but JD, I know you are next. So what are we watching next week?
Yeah, so we are changing the tune a little bit, going to a kind of political movie, which haven't done a lot of. It's Vice. Brief synopsis here. The story of Dick Cheney, an unassuming bureaucratic Washington insider who quietly wielded immense power as vice president to George W. Bush, reshaping the country and the globe in ways that are still felt today. So yeah, like I think I told you guys, I started this 2 weeks ago, got like 10 minutes in, had to go somewhere else, so left it on the docket. Figured this would be a good time to watch it. Don't know anything about Dick Cheney. I barely know anything about George W. Besides he likes to golf and he's a good old Texas boy. But yeah, I'm excited to watch this.
All I know about Dick Cheney is I'm pretty sure he like shot somebody in the woods when he was hunting. Like he didn't see him or something. Like, it was an accident, but I'm pretty sure he like shot somebody with a shotgun.
Interesting. I
Off
guess
the
we'll
synopsis,
wonder if
sounds
we'll
like
see that.
I don't know if
Yeah.
that's. I have a feeling they didn't include that in the movie, but pretty much the only thing I know about him. But I feel like this movie could be a lot like The Big Short, where it was
Well, it's the
like,
same director.
oh really? I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I mean,
Yeah.
Adam
Christian
McKay,
Bale's
yeah.
in it too, but I feel like in that aside, I feel like because it's like semi-recent history, like George Bush and Dick Cheney were in office when we were alive, but obviously we were too young to actually follow it or give a shit. So I feel like it could be some eye-opening stuff. Adam McKay is awesome too. He's done a lot of great movies and
Yeah,
shows. He did Winning Time too.
yeah.
He's done like every Will
He's
Ferrell
great.
movie.
Yeah. Step Brothers.
Step Brothers. Looks like they did The Other Guys.
I love the other guys.
It's a good one. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for Vice. I have not seen it.
I'm pumped as well.
It
What
looks
else
like
you
it's on
got watching?
Netflix too.
Oh yeah, I meant to say that is on Netflix.
Sweet. Easy one.
Um, Other than that, I'm still watching Entourage for a show, like plowing through it, like probably halfway. So it's a quick, easy watch. Another movie I saw maybe 3-4 weeks ago that I forgot to mention last week is Old Dads. Written, directed, and starred in by Bill Burr, his first time directing and producing a movie. So I had to support him as my favorite comedian out there right now. So really good. I liked it a lot. It was if you're a fan of Bill Burr, it's literally just his jokes, like 100% his jokes. So it's great. I'm a big fan. Other than that, like I mentioned, I'd like to see Killers of the Flower Moon. Kind of toying around with the idea of seeing the Marvels. It's just a matter of like getting out to the theaters. I know it like overwhelmed or underwhelmed at the box office. Or Napoleon. I think Napoleon would be really good too. So that's kind of what's on my list right now. But what about you guys?
I don't remember if I said this last week, but I watched Reacher, the Amazon Prime show about Jack Reacher. It stars Thad Castle. I can't think of his name now. Actually, really good. The next season comes out like a month from today.
I heard that is actually good.
That's a
actually
name
really
I
like
haven't heard in
it.
a long time.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
he like walks in. I was like, Thad Castle. Uh, but then other than that, I've just been on Amazon Prime shows, I guess. But I'm watching The Terminal List. It's Chris
Oh,
Pratt.
that's fire.
I think he actually might direct it too. Can't remember. But it's pretty. I'm like 5 episodes in. It's pretty good so far. It kind of weird in some spots. Like I don't know. Like it's not like weird or anything. Like in a disturbing way or anything. It's just like, I don't know, just it doesn't seem like it fits sometimes. But overall, I like it so far. Like 5 episodes in.
Sweet. Definitely on my list because you brought it up last time. JD is Invincible. I'm gonna start watching that on Amazon. Besides that, I haven't really watched anything. The thing I actually watched most recently, besides these movies, is I only had access on this one TV I was by to Disney Plus without signing into everything else. Like it was the only one already signed in. So I didn't really want to watch a Disney movie. So I went to like the old shows and they had Boy Meets World on there. Did you guys ever watch that?
Oh yeah,
I never watched that show.
I still think it
I've heard
holds
it's
up.
great,
Like I
but
love that show when I, was younger. Watching like a decent amount of episodes, like it's still like obviously geared towards kids or like maybe a little bit older than like a kid. But in that rising age or whatever. And I love that show. So
did they redo that at some point?
yeah, no, I think it's like Girl Meet. I think they have a Girl Meets
Yeah.
World now or something, which I don't think that's probably good. But Boy Meets World is great. If you're looking for like a nostalgia play at any point, yeah, definitely recommend it.
Have you ever heard the debate of Topanga or Kelly Kapowski from Saved by the Bell?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget who was it, but I saw that on the internet the other day. I mean, I'm going Kelly Kapowski, but I was like, those are both just like two great shows. I used to watch Saved by the Bell every day before school. It was just, I don't know, it's
Yeah,
always on
it
at
was
7 a.m. for some
watch
reason.
that every summer.
It was
Like
also
every-
a great sick, like if you're homesick show because it was always on
yeah.
like during that hour or that couple hour stretch.
Like
Dude, AC Slater, I forget his name. He had a weirdly successful career doing like
it's on like
hosting.
E or something. Like
Yeah.
he's like a
Lopez,
host
something
of
Lopez.
yeah, what the hell is Mario Lopez?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than that, like
He also
I mean,
did was it
Screech is in the
America's
news
Best
for bad reasons, but
Yeah, I mean,
did he do? Yeah, he did something else. JD was like Dancing with the Stars.
Did that or like America's Best Dance Crew maybe?
Oh, I don't know.
I just remember the Jabberwockies. Those guys were sick.
I think it was actually he used to do Dance with the Stars if I remember correct.
Yeah, that might-
he did. I'm almost 100% sure he did.
yeah, he had like a weirdly successful career. Like
Yeah.
nothing crazy, just always kind of relevant.
Yeah.
I feel like in like show business, like that's an accomplishment in itself to just like
Yeah.
be around. Because like honestly, you're in a huge like show like that. Like I feel like you don't really need to work ever again. Like, I mean, I know Saved by the Bell, it's not the biggest show ever, but like probably doing pretty well. But like, I guess on another level, like Daniel Radcliffe, like he definitely doesn't have to work ever again.
No.
But he chooses to, so good for him.
Yeah.
But like some of those big shows, like honestly, like Will Smith after like Fresh Prince, I feel like he was probably set for maybe not
Well,
life, but
Yeah, because I
I
mean, I
think
just
we're
feel,
at
I
the
still
time.
feel like I think that's like beloved and everything, but at the time, I don't think it was probably.
yeah,
I
maybe
still
not.
think he probably had to do something.
I think he
Yeah,
also did Wells a rapper though.
Yeah,
Like that serious.
did what?
Wells a rapper.
Oh yeah, no, he
Like
was.
sales wise. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, he started it like as a rapper, right?
I
Yeah,
think
it's him
so.
and DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, because I actually heard this. Honestly, first Will Smith, like anything I've heard of in a while, is like he's hosting this podcast. It's called like Class of '88 or something like that. And I guess 1988 was like the summer that was like really influential for rap. It was like Will Smith and like a bunch of other guys like all blew up. And Will Smith's like hosting this podcast, like reminiscing with these guys, which I was like,
I might check that
I
out.
interesting.
yeah, I
That
just
makes
I
sense though
literally
because
just searched it.
when we were listening around then, we were like, when's hip hop like coming and everything, and then that's like right around when it started, like a couple pop up on there.
Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, I just searched it. It looks like he's got a couple episodes out. He's got one with DJ Jazzy Jeff. Yeah, I mean, it sounds kind of interesting, honestly. I don't know. I mean, Will Smith's kind of an interesting character at this point,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's kind of, I guess, weird. I guess it's kind of just going unaddressed. He's like back in the spotlight, but
Uh,
I don't know.
One of my favorite stories about him with the Fresh Prince is I guess before it started, they let him choose his name for the show, and someone told him like, dude, like choose a name that you like you'll be remembered as this for the rest of your life. So he chose Will Smith.
It's actually
Yeah,
fucking
not a bad
genius.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah,
Big
that's
brain.
very that's
Yeah.
very smart. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's hilarious.
that's good wherewithal.
Yeah.
That's another
Absolutely.
great show. But that and like Saved by the Bell were on TBS like all day. It was
Oh, yeah.
awesome. That was like waking like summer to watch those in the morning, go out and play in the afternoon. It was and then at night you had Nick at Night, which was like, you know,
George
same
Lopez.
thing.
Lopez.
George
Yeah.
Lopez. You had to wait out George. I mean, I'm not a George Lopez fan. You had to wait those out to get to like Fresh Prince didn't come on till like 11 or midnight.
I
or
feel
something
like
like
George
that.
Lopez was one of the later ones actually, because I remember going
Oh,
to sleep
maybe.
to George Lopez or waking up in the middle of the night to that.
I was
like
gonna
theme
say the
song.
exact same.
Yeah.
Like that theme song was so loud for no reason at all.
Maybe it just like replayed, but
Oh
yeah, it
my
was.
friend,
Yeah.
or whatever that one says.
Yeah,
The
No, I think that's right.
low rider
Low
song.
Rider, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just you fall asleep all of a sudden. George Lopez's face comes on the screen with that. I'm like,
I absolutely hated that show, but that
Dude,
intro
it's so
song is
bad.
great.
I went in waves with it. Like, I mean, like Tom, I just used to watch Nick at Night a lot, so that'd just be like, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But then
Nick
sometimes
at
I just couldn't
Night.
stand it.
Yep. Nick at Night, and I would go to whatever other channel had King of Queens on. I always loved
Yeah.
King of Queens.
That was one always on the after school, like TBS.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that
Yeah.
was a sick day show for me too.
Have
Yeah.
you guys ever seen? There's actually a show that was on like that same type of show. I'm drawing a blank. I can't think of it now, but I'll try to think of it for next week because it was
Everybody loves
on.
Raymond.
No, but it was on like that same type of like that, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon type.
Full
And I
House?
don't. No, I'm trying to think of like even the premise. All I remember is I can't remember like, and the actors are like not well known at all. So
ILXY.
what is it?
ILXY, if you guys remember that.
I don't think I
No,
remember that.
I'll try to think of it.
Oh, like ABC Family, like they never thought.
I'll try to think of it for next week and see if you guys have ever heard of it or have ever seen it. Oh, it was
But-
Yes Dear. Yes
Oh
Dear.
yeah, no, Yesteryear was great. That's
I
with
watched
Putty
that
in it, right?
What is it?
Is that the one with Putty in it from Seinfeld?
That's a different one. That's like semi-recent. I think you're thinking of
Oh yes, Rules of Engagement. I think
Rules of
that's what
Engagement. Great show.
that- I
honestly.
have seen Yesteryear too. That was.
I
that was
watched
pretty
Yes Dear
good.
a ton. I'm glad that just came to me.
Yeah.
I've not watched Yesteryear. I'm gonna check this out.
was
I'm
good.
looking it up. It came out in damn, it's got a terrible review. 6.9 on IMDb. I mean, I genuinely couldn't remember anything it's about.
It's
So,
got Mr. Mosby from Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
Does it?
oh, does it?
I
I
don't know.
don't
He's
remember
also on
him.
it.
I just
Got
remember
Billy
the core
Gardell.
four.
Oh, he's only in 10
Yeah.
episodes. No,
The
no.
main four, I remember.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't as good as I remember, but I do
I know,
remember watching it.
I watched it a ton. I remember enjoying it when I was younger. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, Rules of Engagement was also really good. Dude, there was a time when like, I don't want to date ourselves too much, but before Netflix, when you literally just watch TV, like I feel like you valued the shows a little bit more. Like there were a lot of really good
Yeah.
sitcoms. Like
Oh yeah.
a show that people love now on streaming that I originally watched on TV is Modern Family.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
People are obsessed with Modern Family, and for me, one I liked even more, I've talked about it on here, is The Middle.
Yeah. I thought you
I
were
don't
gonna
even
say
know
something else, but I'm glad you said that instead.
what do you think I was gonna say?
I could say Big Bang Theory.
Oh God, no! I've never been a Big Bang Theory fan.
Well, I think to your point, Tommy, like back then, you didn't have a choice of what you watched. It was whatever was on. So if you were lucky
Right.
enough to find like one of your favorite shows on, you're like, dude, I'm watching it. I don't care if I
Yeah.
see this episode 10 times.
Right. No,
Good
I
old days.
totally agree. It was, yeah, it seemed like the radio. If you heard a song come on the radio, you're like, oh hell yeah,
Like,
because you didn't have it
yeah,
on demand.
No
like,
skips.
yeah, and you had to listen to like 7 commercials just to get to that. So
Yeah.
It's like
Oh, yeah,
that.
it's-
You gotta like hit the search button to like find the next like decent station.
yeah, it was yeah, that's good reminiscent on some old shows.
Yeah.
That was nice. But yeah,
Absolutely.
That sounds like we're all caught up on what we're watching. Sounds like some
Yeah.
good stuff.
So
All right,
maybe,
you
yeah,
gotta
maybe
check
we'll,
out Jury Duty too.
I know, I do.
Oh,
That's on my
I
list too.
watched that last week actually.
Really? The
Yeah,
show?
yeah. With James
It's only
Morgan.
hey,
I'll
James
watch the show
Marsden.
if you watch the movie.
All right, you watch the
Alright.
show first.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm not dying to watch Pauly Shore
Yeah, no, it's a
anytime
terrible,
soon.
it's actually a fucking terrible movie.
I believe it.
But yeah, so I mean, I think we'll be watching a good movie next week in Vice. So watch that on Netflix. Listen to 2004 Billboard Hits. We'll talking about that as well. But yeah, I think that does it for this week.
Sounds good. We'll see you all next week. Make sure you watch Vice and listen to 2004.
Yep. See you guys.
Yes.